Hi, welcome back. Just to catch you up and remind you where we are, we've talked about what this whole assignment is. We talked about how to come up with questions. You're going to be posting this research topic area and question page on your journal and responding to each other. And then I will do this next, and then you start doing research. And remember, the research needs to be 4 sources from 3 different genres, one from each, at least one from each of these 3 categories. Excuse me. So now what do? Read and annotate it. So we're going to do a rhetorical and genre analysis, which is the next part of this whole thing. So how the heck are we supposed to do that? Well, here's the tool that is up on our site. Okay. And this is a rhetorical genre analysis worksheet. Will help you gather your information, get it all in one spot, get you thinking about stuff. So I'm going to do one just to show you. First of all, let's remind ourselves what a rhetorical situation looks like. We have an author, and there's things about the author we need to know. The audience, who the author is talking to. Assumptions we can make about both based on the demographics and the biography. The purpose of what the author is doing. The context, situational and historical. And then the text itself. And within this little box, you'll see genre right here, right? So how do we do genre analysis? Well, you guys already know genre a little bit because we've done literacy narrative. And we talked about the conventions of a literacy narrative being things like, oh, stop me if you've heard this, the use of I, the use of detail, dialogue, that kind of stuff. Okay, so this is what we're looking at when we're looking at the sources you're going to be examining. So let me go back to this thing here. So let's do one. Let's do a for example, for instance one. All right, drop this down. So I'm going to go back to, remember when I Googled the other day or the last lecture, I had seen these things on Twitter about the dolphins and the swans being in the Venice Canal. So I Googled this, and this is what I found about fake animals. So I went over here. So say I want to use this as a source. So now how do I deal with this using my little genre analysis sheet? All right, so the first thing is bibliographic information of the source. Okay, and to figure out how to get your bibliography put together and what to look for, the best thing to do is to go click on this, which will take us over to the Purdue OWL, which is the online writing lab at Purdue University, and it has got anything you ever need to know. It's a great source. These annoy me. But you go down here to research and citation. We're using MLA, but it's also got APA and a bunch of other styles. So you can click on MLA. We're going down to formatting and style guide. And then this has got all the basic stuff. This is in text when you're doing things in the text. But what we're looking for is a works cited page. Because this gives us our basic MLA information, right? So the nice thing about this is you can use this, or you can use EasyBib, which is still out there, and some other things to put the URL into the box, and it will give you back the right way to cite it. But these are the basic rules, okay? How do you list the author's name? Okay, works by more than one author. Yes, and yes, you can look at those things. They'll tell you more, right? No known author. But what's really good about it is it will show you how to cite electronic sources, which is what most of us use these days, right? Best practices for that. Uses of URLs, what to put in there. Here's the basic format and some examples, all right? So that's where you get your information about your bibliographic information, okay? That's that. A brief summary of content. This is just a little bit to remind yourself of what this is. So this is about the fake pictures of the Venice canals being clear. So who's the author? All right, that's the first question you ask. Who's the author? Well, we go back here. There's an author. Okay, we click on the author. Nat Geo's wonderful. And oh my goodness, here's a bio of her. Turns out, oh my God, she's got cred. Her ethos is, remember ethos is being credibility? She's got ethos. She's been doing this a long time. She's won awards. She writes a lot about stuff. So she's good. And National Geographic is National Geographic. They've been doing this stuff since the 1800s. So they're a really credible source. Okay, so that's for the author. We just figured it out. What's her attitude toward the subject? Well, she obviously cares about this because you can figure it out from her bio. So you put that in there a little bit. Who's the primary audience? Well, for this one, primary audience would be for people like me who saw this on Twitter and wanted to know more. So we're just Googling around trying to figure stuff out. So I'm the primary audience, so it's pretty much anybody. So here's the interesting part. What other audiences might there be? Well, it could be students. It could be psychologists, because as you read this, she talks a lot about why we want these happy things, right? This happy news in the middle of this pandemic. So it could be for psychologists. It could be for people interested in climate change issues, doing research on that. Do I think the audience is ignoring the author's ignoring any of the audiences? I don't think so in this. I think she's just got the information out there. Now, what do I mean by this? If you're on certain sources, it may be that they are pretending that there are no people of color in the world. Okay? Or they may be pretending there are no women in the world. Or they may be pretending there's no one under 20 who exists. Okay? So you can put that in there if you think somebody's being left out of the audience or just not talking to you. Say that. So what's the occasion? We call this, in RetComp, we call this exigence, which means the reason, the thing that's happened in the world that's made this person want to do this. In this case, it's because all these pictures are going out over Twitter, and it's just time. I mean, somebody needs to do it, and she's a very credible person to write about it, so that's her exigence. And it was published on the Nat Geo site. Hey, what's the purpose? Well, she's trying to straighten us out, give us the real deal, the real facts. Okay, so not much more than that. Why choose this genre? Now we're getting into genre analysis. So, the first thing you have to think of is, okay, what is this genre exactly? Well, this is a photo essay, as a matter of fact, because it's got photos and it's an essay. So what are the conventions of a photo essay? Guess what? I Googled it. And here they are. There are two kinds of photo essays. There's the ones that have a story, and they're mostly pictures, using pictures to tell a story. There are ones that use pictures, but also it's more emotional. It's really trying to get us to feel something. The text can be simple, the captions. Okay, so these are the basic genres of a photo essay. Wikipedia's got more about what it is, examples of photo essays, right? So if you're interested in doing a photo essay for Unit 3 thing, Google photo essay. You can Google any genre and they'll give you what the conventions are. So I know the conventions of this one are. It's pictures and it's telling a story. Okay, so those are the conventions. What made this one the best thing to address the audience? Well, it's got the pictures, So she's using the pictures to talk about why the pictures are fake. And here's a copy of a tweet with the drunk elephants, supposedly drunk elephants. Here's the ones with the swans who actually live in Venice. They're not new to Venice. They live in a certain area of Venice. Here they are again. Right. These, again, it's a Twitter feed, so she's using pictures to make her story to do, they are her examples, all right? So, right, those are how she's using the conventions. She hasn't changed them. I mean, this is just your basic photo essay. If it's a visual genre, and this is really important, how do the arrangement of the elements and the use of color, etc., work to create an impact? Well, here she's interspersing pictures with text, and some of the pictures are just screen caps of these tweets, which is really important for showing us that she knows what she's talking about and that she's addressing something really specific, that all this stuff is going out over Twitter. All right? So that would be, the genre stuff. Why this genre? And what are the conventions of the genre? If she's changed up the conventions some, if you get into that wiki site and learn about conventions and she's changed it, why would she do something different? This actually is fairly unexpected, this use of screen caps of tweets. So she's doing it for a reason. It's not just nice, pretty pictures like the one up here, but it's also these tweets. Again, because she's using it as proof. She's making her point with this stuff. And what's the tone? I can tell the tone. What appeals did they choose? Well, the big one here is, use all of them, but ethos because she's a credible writer. It's a credible source. Logos, she's using pictures to be her example. Her logos, her logic, her facts, her figures, her statistics. Pathos, she actually talks about, something in a sort of an emotional thing, because she says, why do we want these pictures? Why do we want them to be true? Why are we looking for this stuff? So she uses a combination of these things. Okay. Does it work? Well, yeah. Yeah, it works because, she got me. I learned stuff. And it also sent me off on a further search, if you'll remember from the last lecture. I went, well, she also talks in here about, okay, maybe there's no dolphins in Venice, and maybe the swans actually already live there, but she does mention things about how life is, it's cleared up, and that's sort of new, right? All kinds of stuff. So it got me off looking at, well, what's going on in the rest of the world with this, right? So it had an impact that was sort of beyond necessarily what she was after, right? So that's how you do one of these things, which leads me to actually the assignment for your journal assignment for next Tuesday, not next Tuesday, but Tuesday, March the 31st. All right. You'll have fun with this one. This one should be good. So to practice using this worksheet and doing this analysis, I want you to pick a genre of music that you like. And I don't care what genre it is. And this is just a journal prompt, so it's not going to be formal. Do use your worksheet, to analyze your genre. And you can use a lot of different examples from the genre. You can use different songs. You can use different artists. Whatever way you want to go for it. Okay, it doesn't make it a bit of difference. You can, and then write it up, what you find. I wouldn't necessarily post the whole worksheet. Just write up what you find in a paragraph or two. And, be sure to address all the questions that are in the worksheet, but I don't need the worksheet necessarily itself. At the end of it, write a couple of sentences about what you found, things that surprised you, anything you had to really do to find some research on, do some research to find out about, and then make it public instead of private. And finally, last thing is, once you get yours published, go out to the journals and look for other people and what genres they're looking at, and then comment on it. Was it different? Was their analysis different than yours? What surprised you? What things do you have to share? So this is just okay, I'm a hip hop person and this person's a hip hop person and I found something different than they did. And why isn't this cool? Right, so this is the fun part of this. All right, so everybody got this? We are going to go, this is back to me, and that is that for this one. Go forth and research your music. Okay, and I will see you later. See you on the backside.